Feel like the world is coming apart at the seams, but powerless to do anything about it? Well, the world indeed is falling apart, but it's right on time. And there is definitely something you can do about it. Dan Brown tells us, for millennia, humankind has wandered in darkness. But now there is a change coming. After hurtling blindly through history, mankind has reached a crossroads. This moment was predicted long ago and was to be preceded by a brilliant explosion of knowledge to illuminate the darkness and give mankind a final chance to veer away from the abyss and take the path of wisdom. In 2012, our civilization completed a 25,920-year cycle the ancient civilizations referred to as the Great Cycle, or the precession of the equinoxes. John Major Jenkins tells us the Sumerians, Tibetans, Egyptians, Cherokee, Hopi, Maya, Kabbalists, Essenes, Navajo, Apache, Iroquois, Dogons, Greeks, and Aborigines all had knowledge of the 25,920-year precession and developed calendars based on it. The ancients also referred to this time as the time of trial on earth, the shift of the ages, the Great Awakening, and the Apocalypse, which in Greek means the lifting of the veil, and this is the veil of advanced knowledge. Patricia Corey tells us this is the time of the Great Initiation, global awakening. All is to be revealed now. The veil is lifting. Apocalypse is upon us. The cycle we are now experiencing is a major milestone in the evolution of humankind. For it is a time when our civilization is given an opportunity to graduate to the next stage of human evolution. To determine if we are ready to move into this next stage, our civilization unknowingly began to undergo a test after 2012, a test of consciousness. Are we ready to move into this next stage, or do we need to repeat this 25,920-year cycle? Carlos Barrios is a Mayan elder, and he tells us, we are in a time of trial, a sacred testing, a great crossing. We must find the ways to live in harmony and peacefully coexist. Our survival depends upon our awakening to the interdependence of life. Patricia Corey tells us, you are now being provided the quintessential test, the ultimate initiation, to become masters in the new realm of human experience, or sink into the confines of absolute limitation. Moira Timms tells us, astrological mapping of the years up to 2012 provide valuable insights into the nature of the coming changes upon the planet. This is an initiation process for the whole of humanity. An astrological natal chart for December 21st, 2012 says with great deliberation, this is a test. During this era, crises, conflicts, and great upheavals are destined to occur. As we attempt to resolve these crises using our current methods, predominantly force, we will ultimately hit a brick wall, for those methods will no longer be effective. At that point, we will stand at a crossroads where we will be called upon to alter the course we are now on, resolve our issues in a different manner, and consciously choose our future. The Earth Charter tells us we stand at a critical moment in Earth's history, a time when humanity must choose its future. As the world becomes increasingly interdependent and fragile, the future at once holds great peril and great promise. To move forward, we must recognize that in the midst of a magnificent diversity of cultures and life forms, we are one human family and one Earth community with a common destiny. Glenda Green tells us, humankind is standing precariously on the edge of its destiny. It will either rise to a paradigm change or experience decline or possible destruction. This is an unavoidable confrontation. Jean Houston tells us, we are the ones who have the most profound task in human history. The task of deciding whether we grow or die. Pierre Teilhard de Chardin tells us, the task before us now, if we would not perish, is to shake off our ancient prejudices and to build the earth. The future of the world is in our hands. Gerardo Barrios, another Mayan elder, tells us we are now in a transition period called the cycle of the merge of the dark and the light. The cycle of the light will end on December 21st, 2012. The world will not end. It will begin its transformation into a new level of consciousness where everything will change. But we must first transform enormously powerful forces that seek to block the way. Earth can be renewed or ravaged. Now is the time to awaken and take action. This is a crucially important moment for humanity and for Earth. Albert Einstein tells us, we shall require a substantially new manner of thinking if mankind is to survive. So, how do we solve our problems and pass this test? By learning and applying the ancient knowledge. Albert Einstein tells us, the ancients knew something which we seem to have forgotten. And Dan Brown tells us, the time we are now living was prophesied to be the time when the secrets were to be unearthed and deciphered, resulting in a moment of great human transformation. Patricia Corey tells us, the sacred wisdom contains knowledge of the true nature of man buried in the secret covenants. It has been concealed throughout the ages, awaiting a time in human evolution when consciousness would be capable of taking giant steps and begin its journey into the brilliance of enlightened mind and spirit. That evolutionary point on the time-space continuum is now. And Dan Brown tells us, the knowledge to unlock the ancient mysteries was to be revealed at a pivotal moment in history where mankind could no longer survive without the knowledge of the ancients. At this dark crossroads, mankind will herald in a wondrous new age of enlightenment. That moment is fast approaching. It is always darkest before dawn. He also tells us, this knowledge was obscured for the same reason the ancient mystery schools were hidden, the same reason the neophytes had to be initiated before learning the secret teachings, the same reason the scientists in the Royal Academy of London refused to share their knowledge. This information is powerful. And Vladimir Vernadsky tells us, This era is the result of a climax of human self-reflective thought, resulting in an exponential change in consciousness in which all becomes revealed and known. But we've got a big hurdle. What will it take to awaken from our deeply entrenched belief systems? Unfortunately, in our present state of consciousness, the catalyst for awakening and evolution is through discomfort, pain, and if necessary, events of magnitude. Willa Cather tells us, there are some things you learn best in calm and some in storm. Dr. David Hawkins tells us, pain exists to promote evolution. Its cumulative effect finally forces us in a new direction. Patricia Corey tells us, crises and conflicts serve as a catalyst, calling you to transcend the beliefs around you. You must look within and ask if you are ready to be sovereign and claim your power. Marilyn Ferguson tells us, only that which is deeply felt can change us. Rational arguments alone cannot penetrate the layers of fear and conditioning that comprise our crippling belief systems. And in A Course in Miracles, we are told, tolerance for pain may be high, but it is not without limit. Eventually, everyone begins to recognize, however dimly, that there must be a better way. As this recognition becomes more firmly established, it becomes a turning point. Marilyn Ferguson tells us, conflict, pain, tension, fear, paradox, these are transformations trying to happen. Once we confront them, the transformative process begins. And Elizabeth Kubler-Ross tells us, there are no mistakes, no coincidences. All events are blessings given to us to learn from. And Joel Arthur Barker tells us, change will not occur unless there is discomfort in the current paradigm. He also tells us you can resist a new paradigm, but understand you cannot stop the process. It will take place with or without you. Neil Donald Walsh tells us you have to raise consciousness before you change consciousness. To raise our consciousness, the veil is lifting, not only to reveal the secrets, but also to expose what has been concealed in the dark. This darkness must be addressed, as it is excess baggage that cannot accompany us in the next phase of human evolution. To illuminate the challenges we must overcome, a multitude of courageous souls have risked much, as the following excerpts will attest. Most important, once we learn the ancient knowledge, we will have the tools to resolve these issues in a completely different manner. Alexis de Tocqueville tells us, above this race of men stands an immense power which watch over their fate. The will of man is not shattered, but softened, bent, and guided. It does not tyrannize, but it compresses, enervates, extinguishes, and stupefies a people, till a nation is reduced to nothing better than a flock of timid and industrious animals, of which the government is the shepherd. Van Gogh tells us, none are more hopelessly enslaved than those who falsely believe they are free. The truth has been kept from the depth of their minds by masters who rule them with lies. They feed them on falsehoods till wrong looks like right in their eyes. Adolf Hitler stated, "The great mass of people will more easily fall victim to a big lie than to a small one. What luck for rulers that men do not think." And Carl Sagan tells us, "One of the saddest lessons of history is this: if we've been bamboozled long enough, we tend to reject any evidence of the bamboozle. We're no longer interested in finding out the truth. The bamboozle has captured us. It is simply too painful to acknowledge, even to ourselves, that we have been so credulous." Gore Vidal tells us, "When you control opinion, as corporate America controls opinion in the United States by owning the media, you can make the many believe almost anything you want, and you can guide them." Albert Einstein tells us, "The ruling class has the schools and press under its thumb. This enables it to sway the emotions of the classes." And Dr. Joseph Goebbels, who was Hitler's propaganda minister, stated, "Give me control of the German media, and I can control the German people." B. Winwright tells us, "The majority of regular folks, your friends and neighbors, have been so thoroughly brainwashed by the constant bombardment of lies in the media, they now strongly believe the lies to be truth. It is an amazing psychological study of the power of repetition and a criminal media." An anonymous author wrote the following: "The banksters first bought all the politicians. Next, they bought all the major media to promote the illusion that politicians represent our interests. Then they took control of the education system, ensuring kids stop thinking at an early age. The Office of Homeland Security is designed to control us in order to confiscate our funds for the purpose of paying the alleged debt of trillions of dollars. It's only a matter of time before we will have no more cash, no pensions, no government benefits. If we resist, there is an Orwellian police state and military police to ensure it." Justice Felix Frankfurter tells us, "The real rulers in Washington are invisible and exercise their power from behind the scenes." General Douglas MacArthur tells us, "I am concerned for the security of our great nation, not so much because of any threat from without, but because of the insidious forces working from within." And J. Edgar Hoover stated, "The individual is handicapped by coming face to face with a conspiracy so monstrous, he cannot believe it exists." President Franklin Roosevelt stated, "The real truth of the matter is, as you and I know, that a financial element in the large centers has owned the government since the days of Andrew Jackson." H. L. Mencken tells us, "Corporations have been enthroned, and an era of corruption in high places will follow, and the money power of the country will endeavor to prolong its reign by working upon the prejudice of the people until wealth is aggregated in a few hands and the republic is destroyed." The preceding quotations are but a few of the issues we must resolve. However, the intent of this presentation is to arm you with the ancient secret knowledge so that you can help to resolve these issues utilizing this knowledge. For a deeper understanding of the challenges we now face, I have written a book entitled We the Sheeple versus the Banksters. It is free online. So, without further ado, let's become acquainted with the secret knowledge. For, as Dan Brown tells us, as soon as we begin to harness our power, we will have enormous control over our world. We will be able to design reality rather than merely react to it. The ancient secrets. The prime directive of all life is the evolution of consciousness. Dr. David Hawkins tells us evolution, innate to the overall field of consciousness, guarantees the salvation of mankind, and with it, all of life. The most powerful ancient secret, as well as the platform through which the evolution of consciousness unfolds, is called the law of attraction. And the power of this law is articulated in an ancient document entitled the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. And this document was discovered in the Great Pyramid of Giza. And this is what Thoth had to say. Hear ye and listen, O my children. Magic is knowledge, and only is law. Be not afraid of the power within thee, for it follows law as the stars in the sky. Know that all force is thine, if thou fear not the path that leads thee to knowledge, but rather shun the dark road. Light is thine, O man, for the taking. Cast off thy fetters, and thou shalt be free. Know ye that thy soul is living in bondage, fettered by fears that hold ye in thrall. Man is only what he believeth, a brother of darkness or a child of the light. In the Essene Gospel of Peace, which was a document that was found in the Dead Sea Scrolls, we are told, to obtain the treasures of the material world, O sons of men, forego not the world of the law. The communions of the law are perfect, converting the soul from darkness to light. How does the law of attraction work? Well, everything in our world is interconnected through a matrix of energy where your thoughts, feelings, beliefs, words, and actions act as boomerangs, magnetizing evidence of those thoughts, feelings, beliefs, words, and actions right back to you, thereby creating your life experience. Dan Brown tells us thoughts have measurable mass, and all mass has gravity. Hence, thoughts can pull things toward it. Dan Brown also tells us we are now learning that the ancients understood the power of thought more profoundly than we do today, for the ancient texts are filled with excerpts which speak of the power of the mind. In the ancient Essene Gospel of Peace, which was a document found in the Dead Sea Scrolls, we are told, for you know not the power of your thoughts. Know that your thoughts are as powerful as the bolt of lightning that stabs through the storm and splits asunder the mighty tree. Use them wisdom in all that you think and say and do. May the law bless you with all good and keep you from all evil. Illumine your hearts with insight into the things of life and grace you with knowledge of things eternal. It was also stated in the Essene Gospel of Peace, no other creature in the kingdom of our earthly mother is given the power of thought. All the beasts that crawl and birds that fly live not of their own thinking, but of a law that governs all of life. Only to the sons and daughter of man is given the power of thought. And even that thought can break the bonds of death. Do not think that because it cannot be seen, that thought has no power. For I'll tell you truly, the lightning that cleaves the mighty oak, the quaking that opens up cracks in the earth, these are like the play of children compared to the power of your thought. The word abracadabra came from ancient Aramaic mysticism. Abracadabra means I create as I speak. Thought creates life experience. It's a bit scary, since it is said that we have more than 6,000 thoughts a day. But fear not. When you were born, you came equipped with a powerful internal guidance system that warns when your thoughts may be detrimental to your life experience. Just as your physical body warns of a threat to your well-being through physical pain, your inner guidance system warns of a threat to your well-being through emotional pain or negative feelings. Just as pain is a catalyst for our collective evolution, it works the same way in our individual evolution. Pain is energy. Therefore, it follows a fundamental law of physics. All energy seeks balance. And the seeking of balance leads to the expansion of consciousness, learning from our mistakes so we don't repeat them. Moreover, the purpose of life is to evolve through experience, thus requiring a context from which to evolve. And that context is called duality, polarity, or opposites. How could you define and experience hot if cold didn't exist? Patricia Corey tells us the evolutionary driver of existence is choice. You cannot experience choice without polarity. The dark side exists to provide the freedom to choose and the responsibility for those choices. Every topic in our world has a polar opposite. Between these opposites lie a spectrum of points. On the topic of health, myriad points exist from perfect health to dying. Each topic has a specific frequency or vibration similar to a radio station. The ancients explained that to experience what you prefer in life or to create your reality, you must tune into the frequency or vibration of this experience by focusing your powerful thoughts, words, and actions on this topic, and then feel what it feels like to experience it. In The Lost Teachings of Atlantis, author John Peniel conveys, all is vibration. All vibration follows universal law. All gives, all receives, all loves. All vibration seeks to find its own level. To find any level, set forth the vibration. By law, you will go there. By law, it will come. To simplify this process, think of a negative feeling as a wrong way sign, a point of power. What do you do in that moment? You think of the Spice Girls and a song they sang, "Tell me what you want, what you really, really want." Once you determine what you want, you then utilize the law of attraction and consciously shift your thoughts, change stations, so that you can experience what you prefer in life. The law of attraction and your thoughts, words, and actions have been creating your every moment. You just didn't know it. Neil Donald Walsh tells us, every prayer, every thought, every statement, every feeling is creative. To the degree that it is fervently held as truth, to that degree it will be made manifest in your experience. He also tells us, you are at the cause of your experience, not at the effect of it. At first you may not realize this, and so you may not be consciously creating your reality. Your experience will then be created by one of two other energies, your uncontrolled thoughts or the collective consciousness. William James tells us, of all the creatures of earth, only human beings can change their pattern. Man alone is the architect of his destiny. The greatest revolution in our generation is that of human beings, by changing the inner attitudes of their minds, can change the outer aspects of their lives. Napoleon Hill tells us, whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. Man alone has the power to transform his thoughts into physical reality. Man alone can dream and make his dreams come true. Van Gogh tells us, I have come to the frightening conclusion that I am the decisive element. It is my personal approach that creates the climate. It is my daily mood that makes the weather. I possess tremendous power to make life miserable or joyous. I can be a tool of torture or an instrument of inspiration. I can humiliate or humor, hurt or heal. In all situations, it is my response that decides whether a crisis is escalated or de-escalated, and a person is humanized or dehumanized. Neil Donald Walsh tells us, when it is said that a prayer has not been answered, what in actuality happened is that the most fervently held thought, word, or feeling has become operative. Yet what you must know, it is always the thought behind the thought, what might be called the sponsoring thought, that is the controlling thought. If, therefore, you beg and supplicate, there seems a much smaller chance you will experience what you think you are choosing, because the sponsoring thought behind every supplication is that you do not have what you wish. The sponsoring thought becomes your reality. The sponsoring thought is the primary thought, the prime force. It is the raw energy that drives the engine of human experience. Jane Roberts tells us, you form the fabric of your experience through your beliefs and expectations. You take your beliefs about reality as truth and often do not question them. They seem self-explanatory. They appear in your mind as statements of fact, far too obvious for examination, and are accepted without question. They are not recognized as beliefs about reality, but are instead considered characteristics of reality itself. Frequently, such ideas appear indisputable, so part of you that it does not occur to will not speculate about their validity. They become invisible assumptions, but they nevertheless color and form your personal experience. Dr. Carolyn Myss tells us, everything that is alive pulsates with energy, and all of this energy contains information. Your physical body is surrounded by an energy field that extends as far out as your outstretched arms and the full length of your body. That energy field is both an information center and a highly sensitive perceptual system. We are constantly in communication with everything around us through this system, which is a kind of conscious electricity that transmits and receives messages to and from other people's bodies. Dr. Max Planck is considered to be the father of quantum physics. He tells us all matter originates and exists only by virtue of a force which brings the particle of an atom to vibration and holds the most minute solar system of the atom together. We must assume behind this force the existence of a conscious and intelligent mind. This mind is the matrix of all matter. Now that you're familiar with the ancient knowledge, how do we create our future? Author Patricia Corey explains, an entire population can become disciplined in their focus using the power of their thoughts to realize a common goal. Group waves of light and love become beacons for those who are struggling in the darkness of their anxiety, fear, and disharmony. If enough people unite for the light, the power of your thoughts will resonate with Earth's own electromagnetic frequencies. United, the power of your focused thoughts and the love you bring forward through all actions, words, and expression can deflect the forces of darkness and neutralize those intentions. Dan Brown tells us, thoughts have measurable mass, and all mass has gravity. So if many people focus a single thought simultaneously, the thoughts attract unto themselves. They merge and become one larger mass, which responds to more gravity. Therefore, if enough people focus on the same thing, the gravitational force of those thoughts becomes tangible. It exerts actual force, which can have a measurable effect on our world. And a 10-year-old psychic child in Bulgaria corroborates the exponential power of group thought. He says, your emotions are the key. It is the tool you will use to draw the chosen world into your conscious experience. Your collective emotions have the ability to influence weather patterns and even to end wars. You have done this many times without realizing it. If you continue to claim the world you want by feeling that world in your emotions, then it will be so. But if you continue to be influenced by the fear that is so present today, then the world will reflect that. We, your children, are asking that you choose love over fear. Use your feelings of love to draw the reality you really want. The next stage of evolution has been called the age of the gods, the fifth world of peace, the golden age of truth and knowledge, the new age of harmony, balance, and unity, and the age of Aquarius. Since the dawning of time, humankind has sought an ideal world imbued in joy, love, peace, harmony, prosperity, and purpose. Every culture on our planet has a name for this ideal. Shambhala, Utopia, Eden, Paradise, Nirvana, Shangri-La, Moksha, and Heaven. The deep yearning within our souls to create this ideal world has been the driving force that has taken us through countless experiences and brought us to this unprecedented moment in time. Dan Brown tells us we are on the verge of a truly great period of illumination of all the people who have ever lived in all the eras of history. We are the lucky ones to be experiencing this pivotal moment in history. We are now in that narrow window of time during which we will bear witness to our ultimate renaissance. The world is waiting for this message of hope and empowerment. Lee Carroll tells us, the time of the great awakening is come. Your hands have been chosen to reach the lonely, your eyes to see innocence, not guilt, and your lips to utter words of comfort. Let pain be no more. Teach the lessons you have learned. Your understanding has been given not only for yourself, but to guide a sore and tired world to a new consciousness. You are important, you are needed, and you are worthy. The hope of the world has been planted inside you. This is the healing of planet Earth. Pierre Teilhard de Chardin tells us, there is now incontrovertible evidence that we have entered upon the greatest period of change the world has ever known. The ills from which we are suffering have had their seat in the very foundation of human thought. Today, something is happening to the whole structure of human consciousness. A fresh new kind of life is starting. We are the children of transition, not yet fully conscious of the new powers that have been unleashed. There is for us in the future not only survival, but super life. Will you help to actualize that super life? To be or not to be? That really is the question.